Welcome back to Mr. Nat's Maths, and today we're going to look at adding fractions with unlike denominators. Okay, so I'm starting off with half plus 2/3, and I've got the manipulatives here because I like to use these pie pieces to start with, these circular fractions, because we can see I can't add these together, right? So I've got thirds and I got halves. It's like trying to add apples and pears. If I got 2 apples and 1 pear, I'm still going to end up with 2 apples and 1 pear. I could say I've got 3 pieces of fruit. So I've changed the denomination of what I'm talking about. Instead of talking about pears and fruit, I'm not pears and apples. Now I'm talking about fruit. So I've changed the denomination. So what we need to do is we need to find the lowest common denominator for these fractions so that we can add them together. Okay, so we're thinking of which fraction can I change these into, which equivalent fractions. I can make both of these in the same type fraction. Like I can make them into fifths, but no, I can't make them into fifths. I can make them into eighths. Well, 4/8 would make a half, but I can't make eighths in thirds. I could make thirds into, if I cut it in half, I'd have 2/6, because I know my equivalent fractions, 2/6. But they need to be the same for both of these fractions. Now, I do know, because I use 6, just mentioned 6, is that 3/6 make a half, I know my equivalent fractions, and 2/6 make a third. So I'm going to exchange these for my 6 pieces. Okay, so that's one of the thirds, right? That's another one of the thirds. Right, and then I need 3 for the half. So now I've got my 2/3, and I've got my half. And now I represented them as 6. So those are equivalent fractions. So that was the 3/6 plus I got 4/6, right? Okay, if I add those together, move them around to add them together. I'm trying to make a funny shape. What's happening? Well, there's too many, right? Because 3 plus 4 is 7. And 6 make a whole. So I've got 1/6 left over. I've got 7/6, and that's the same as 1 whole and 1/6. Let's write that down. 7/6, which equals 1 and 1/6. So what I did was I found the equivalent fraction in a fraction that I can use for both of these fractions that I'm working with. Okay. Now it just so happens that 2 times 3 is 6, which is great. Okay, and that can help me out. I know if I do multiply 2 times 3, 6, then I could find equivalent fractions using 6. Okay, it doesn't always work like that. Sometimes you don't want to be just multiplying the denominators to find a new denominator. It helps to think about what type of fraction is going to fit, because you might be working with something with like 24ths when you don't need to. You could just be using 6 or 12ths or something. Okay, right. So now I've converted them into the same type of fraction. I can add them very easily. So it's like having 3 apples or 3 fruit plus 4 fruit. Now we've got 7 fruit. Okay, but remember, these are actually smaller than what we're talking about. But when we put them together, they make 1 whole and 1/6. So I got 3/6 plus 4/6 equals 7/6, which makes 1 and 1/6. There we go. Hope that helps you with your maths today. Ciao, ciao. Bye for now. Cheers.